Eddie, we're in La La Land, but it feels a little bit like we're in fantasy land.
We are in La La Land, we're in madness land, Buncey, because two guys who, you have to call them two of the biggest entertainment stars in the world, are about to have their first professional fight contest after a really actually quite exciting rematch in Manchester at the Staples Centre, live around the world, Sky Sports, The Zone, Fight TV, live on 5 Live as well. And I can't believe the size of it. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers coming in, and it's another world. It's another world. I mean, like we said, we were just talking off air there about some outlets just interviewed some guy who's a side man apparently, and they've done 1 million views in the first couple of hours of the interview. I didn't even know who he was. We're all looking for these blokes going, "Are you a side man? Are you a side man?" So you got to embrace it. And the one thing I will say is, let's not take this too seriously, because they're two guys who, they're athletes. They're in great shape. They've trained very hard. It's not Hagler Hearns. But it's going to be exciting.
They train like Hagler Hearns.
They have, and actually they've got to a stage where they've convinced themselves. One guy's saying he's a future world champion. One guy's saying he can beat a lot of pros. Calm down. You can box a little bit, but when you get in front of the Staples Centre with a worldwide audience and you get a 10-ouncer on the chin, these boxing tactics that you've learnt these last 12 weeks, out the window.
They're on the side.
They are, and it's going to be exciting. And, everyone's coming. Justin Bieber's tweeting last night to 120 million followers about the fight. It's crazy, and we hope that they stick. We know not everyone's going to stick, but we hope those guys watch Billy Joe, watch Devin Haney, and become fans of them. Follow Matchroom, follow everything involved with boxing. Start following your podcast.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
What made you? It's a silly question. Yeah. What made you say, you know what? I'll have a little bit of that.
So the first fight came around, and they'd already done one smaller one at the Copper Box.
That's right.
Then all of a sudden they said, this time it's Logan Paul against KSI. Still didn't really know who either was, to be quite honestly. They come to me and said, something you'd look at. I said, absolutely not in a million years. I said, where are you doing it? Manchester Arena. Oh, I was on the floor. Who's broadcasting it? It's on pay-per-view. I'm like, I'm dying here. Anyway, they go on sale. Spoke to our friends at Manchester Arena. We've sold that out, 19,000 for the KSI fight. Anyway, it does 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. And I'm like, I'm in for the rematch. They asked me about it, and I'd already made my mind up. With the work with The Zone as well in America, it's a big opportunity to drive subscriptions with them, stage the rematch in Los Angeles, which was part of the original contract with those guys. And they've really impressed me. Smart people who have developed this huge abnormal following of people all around
40
the world.
million.
Yeah. Who are like, we're doing press conferences. The one today, like 1 million people around the world are watching the press conference live. But it's like, we've had a lot of stick about it. So we wanted to make sure that we incorporated the world of YouTube with World Championship Boxing. Like that first card that they did had a load of YouTubers on it. It was hard to watch. These guys can fight a little bit, but we want to make sure that we have a World Championship undercard as well. So this new era of followers, if you like, this new audience can watch Devin Haney and Billy Joe, like I said, and go, do you know what, I love boxing. Logan Paul's already said to me the amount of messages he's had from people saying, I've been watching, he's been blogging his training every day, I've got into boxing training, I love it, So it's like, you can't be naive enough to think this does nothing for the sport, but just don't take it too seriously.
They are what they are, they're good noises. Yeah. Hey, let's start with some figures. Let's go to some figures, and you can or you can't answer. It's your shout. But in the new open world of YouTube, I expect full disclosure, because that will say everything. First of all, this is an interesting one. I'm not trying to catch you out. How much did the Californian boxing licenses cost? Is it like a set fee, $395, something like that?
I think less than that. I think the main thing was, when I sat down with them, I said, look, I'm going to get destroyed for doing this fight, credibility-wise, from hardcore fight fans, right? Yeah, and Bunce. So what I want you to do is, you've got to take it seriously, lose the head guards, put on the 10-ounce gloves. The agents went, not in a million years. Both fighters went, we don't have a problem with that. I don't think they really knew what they were getting into. Then I said, we want drug testing. We want all the proper medicals. You apply for your license with the California Commission. The California Commission watched the first fight, they looked at them, they went through the medicals with them, they licensed the guys. In terms of cost, I'm not even sure, a couple of $100 or something like that. But it's not, you don't just pay for it and get your license. You have to go through the procedures, the drug testing, the medical reports, and that's what they've done on that one.
So the way it's worked this year with the pay-per-views, let's assume that the most popular show, the most popular fight this year on British television was Joshua against Ruiz in the middle of the night doing whatever it did. How will this? What's your gut feeling with this one, based on early sales in other territories? I'd like some figures, not pound note figures, but just figures in general, because they're staggering.
Yeah, the figures will be, this will do over 2 million global pay-per-view buyers. The first one did 1.1 or 1.2 million. This fight is tracking at similar levels, probably a little bit more than Joshua Ruiz 1. So we know that Joshua Ruiz 2 will blow this one out of the water because that's on at 9 p.m. But don't forget, this fight's on at 4 o'clock in the morning, UK time. So we're seeing that this will probably be, so far, the biggest pay-per-view on UK TV that we've done so far, which again is mind-blowing. The really interesting thing is, although this is broadcast on DAZN in the US and a lot of their territories, which include Germany, Italy, Spain, Canada, etc., this is also broadcast on a platform called Fight.tv, F-I-T-E, in every remaining territory. We're getting reports, real-time reports, very addictive. It's telling you all the different countries that are buying the product. Australia, I mean, the front runner. Pre-sales. And pre-sales will always be between 5 and 15% of on-the-day sales, right? So we're tracking this. So at the moment, probably done, I don't know, 20,000 pay-per-view buys, but we're on Thursday, right? Yeah. But you're looking at it, Australia's done 5,000. You know, Canada's done this. Sweden's done this. You know, Norway's done this. And it's just fascinating to look at where. The only disappointing thing is that we noticed that we've only done one pay-per-view buy in Mozambique so far. That's just a true story.
But you've done one.
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there watching in Mozambique, can you hurry up?
BBC World Service might be able to help.
Exactly, thank you.
So quite seriously, in territories like Saudi, for instance, you're doing stuff that you've never seen.
Saudi's up there. You know, up there probably top 20 of countries around the world that are buying, and there's 100 who are buying this fight. Saudi are right up there. And again, it's little bits of data like that educate us to say, hang on a minute. And it's when we go into new territories, like we're doing with the launch of Matchroom Box in Italy, Matchroom Box in Spain, this is the kind of data that you take and go, we're missing a trick here with that place. This place is, you know, top 10 in terms of countries digesting boxing and watching this event. We should be in there. So it's fascinating, and it's a completely new world for us.
And Ed, thanks for your time. Just a couple of more things. Is it possible to put a figure on what the whole thing could generate? Is this a $30 million night? I mean, can you do that in any way, shape or form?
No, it's double-digit millions, but you know it's not going to generate. Don't forget, the pay-per-view in the UK is half the price of a normal pay-per-view, so you know it could outperform Joshua Ruiz 1, but the revenue won't be the same kind of numbers. The tickets are a little bit cheaper at the venue because it's a different kind of audience and stuff like that. So we're double-digit millions, and the guys are going to do very well. But this is what they've. There's also a lot of risk for them. You know, take the physical risk away, like the credibility, like because they spend their whole life trying to be the most watched guy. Exactly. Now all of a sudden, if you get knocked out, you're the walking meme. You know, for years and years. So. And they want to win, so I'm excited, and I don't know what's going to happen, and that's part of the enjoyment.
You and I have been together, we've worked on and off over the years, we've been up and down, don't get me wrong, but the one thing that I can never ever take away from you is your enthusiasm, and that's one thing that I got as well, so I've got a bit of passion. I've been getting into bed out here, doing what you're doing now, laughing. Have you been doing the same?
Yeah, I have been, and worryingly, I've been thinking about the fight a lot. You know, like I've just talked to a couple of US journos over there who are real hardcore boxing fans, and they're going, the conversation was, yeah, but don't you think it'll be Logan Paul early or KSI late? And I looked at him, I went, look at you. I said, you've caned me for this on your pages for months and months. And by the way, now you've done an interview with some bloke called a Sideman, you've done 1 million views, you're all over this like a rash. So it's like all sport. If it's an evenly matched fight, you're going to discuss who's going to win. Yeah. And again, don't take it too seriously. Expect two superstars that have trained really hard, that really want to win, taking part in a fight that's going to be broadcast all over the world.
And finally, Ed, we'd do it again, wouldn't we, if we had to?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, we will. I don't know. See how it goes.